letting pressure flow. Again, the art of navigating life's river, from stagnation to wisdom stress, is not a monstrous flood. It is the natural ripple in the river of life. Moderate pressure is a driving force, the current that propels us forward. However, when stress accumulates relentlessly like sand overly compacted in a cup lacking gaps, it ceases to flow. Instead, it solidifies, hardens, and becomes a shackle for the soul. The pressure in our lives almost imperceptibly transforms from a nourishing stream into hardened, stagnant mud. We rarely pause to reflect, allowing stress to gradually settle, accumulate, and congeal within us, ultimately turning into unyielding stones that weigh heavily on our hearts. Part 1. The Modern Maze: How Pressure Silently Hardens Within Us. Modern life weaves an intricate, invisible web of pressure. Trapped within it, we often remain unaware of the moment when flowing vitality turns into hardened stone. 1. The illusion and cost of a seamless life. A collective subconscious whispers, a perfect life must be flawlessly smooth, without cracks. Work demands watertight precision, schedules calibrated to the minute, relationships striving for harmonious perfection, personal images polished to a shine. A seasoned project manager confessed after 3 months of continuous overtime, "My schedule felt like a solid steel plate. Even 5 minutes of blank space induced guilt." Until the day in the conference room when the lines on the PPT began to warp, my heart pounding wildly, I realized I was a cup of sand compacted to its breaking point. This relentless pursuit of the seamless acts, like the hand constantly tamping down the sand, ruthlessly squeezing out every tiny gap where pressure might breathe and flow. Every ounce of perfectionism adds another brick to the hardening of the soul. 2. The cult of speed and the eternal online cage. Efficiency reigns supreme, fast equated with good and success. We spin like wound-up tops in the torrent of information overload. Digital technology blurs the lines between work and life, public and private. Smartphones become invisible shackles on our wrists. The relentless flood of information washing over our nerve endings 24/7. The pings of emails, messages, and notifications are a never-tiring drumbeat of urgency. An online entrepreneur admitted, "I feel like a 7/24 server. Even my dreams are about content and traffic." Power off? That means being forgotten? Obsolete. Physical exhaustion is bearable, but the suffocating feeling of a mind stuffed with information, unable to stop thinking, that's the deepest despair. This endless chase for speed and connection robs pressure of the offline time it needs to naturally settle and dissipate. Pressure is centrifugally dried and packed within the high-speed spin, rapidly solidifying. The abyss of comparison and the eternal echo of not enough. Social media meticulously constructs dazzling window displays of curated lives. We constantly engage in lateral comparisons. Who has a more successful career, a happier family, a more exciting life, more impressive achievements? This omnipresent comparison creates a persistent background hum of not enoughness. A young mother shared in a parenting group, seeing other children display talents early, mastering music, chess, calligraphy, and painting, while mine struggles with basic reading. The anxiety wrapped around me like vines, choking me. I frantically signed him up for classes, pushed him relentlessly, terrified he'd fall behind. The result? Tears from him, exhaustion from me, home became a battlefield. This comparison-based anxiety is a highly viscous source of stress. It settles constantly, mixing and cementing with other stresses, accelerating the hardening of the heart, emotional suppression, and the unspoken burden. In a societal atmosphere emphasizing rationality and efficiency, expressing vulnerability or sharing pressure is often seen as weakness or untimeliness. We learn to wear the "I'm fine" mask, burying anxiety, grievance, anger, and sadness deep within. A middle-aged man after company layoffs forced a smile for his concerned family. It's fine, just a chance to rest, find something better. Yet, no one witnessed his sleepless nights, the fear of the future and self-doubt pressing on his chest like a heavy millstone. These unseen, unspoken, unprocessed emotional energies, unable to flow and release through healthy channels, accumulate, ferment, and harden in the dark chambers of the psyche, becoming the most stubborn layer of the compacted mass. Part 2. The imprint of stagnation, when pressure etches SOS codes on body and mind. Pressure is not formless. When it hardens, our bodies and minds send clear, urgent distress signals. They are the marks etched by compacted grains onto our being, alarms signaling the depletion of inner flow. 1. The body's silent scream. Persistent tension and pain. Neck and shoulders feel cast in plaster, stiff and heavy. Headaches are constant companions, oppressive like a vice or sharp like needles. Lower back aches intolerably, as if bearing 1,000-pound weight. This is sustained muscle contraction in perpetual fight or flight. The body physically mirroring the soul's hardening. The dry well of energy and the battlefield of sleep. Exhaustion lingers even after long sleep, as if energy is invisibly drained. Nights become new battlefields. Insomnia, thoughts like wild horses galloping futilely on hardened ground. Frequent waking, the slightest sound jerking you from shallow, restless sleep. Or early rising, seized by nameless anxiety in the pre-dawn silence. The body's fine machinery grinds harshly, lacking the lubricant of deep restorative sleep. Digestive turmoil, stomach upset, bloating, worsening IBS symptoms. The gut, the second brain, is exquisitely sensitive to emotional stress. Compacted pressure disrupts the gut-brain axis harmony, causing digestive chaos. Compromised immunity. Frequent colds, slow wound healing, heightened allergies, elevated inflammation. Chronic compacted stress suppresses immune function, weakening the body's defenses. Heart palpitations, chest tightness, and shortness of breath. The heart races or skips beats inexplicably. The chest feels gripped by an invisible hand. Sometimes breathing feels effortful. This is the autonomic nervous system, especially an overexcited sympathetic branch, spiraling out of control under hardened pressure. The heavy mist of the mind, emotional roller coaster, and the abyss of numbness. Irritability and frustration flare easily, or sinking into persistent low mood, sadness, worthlessness. More terrifying is the emotional vacuum, losing interest in once loved things, feeling detached and numb, as if the soul is encased in thick, hardened ice. The cognitive swamp. Attention flickers like a candle in the wind, hard to hold. Memory noticeably falters. Decision-making becomes agonizing, even for small things. Thinking slows, the brain feels like rusty gears grinding. Compacted pressure clogs the channels of information processing and thought flow. The shadow of anxiety and the fortress of withdrawal. Excessive worry about the future, catastrophic what-ifs playing on loop. exhaustion and resistance toward socializing, craving connection, yet retreating inward, instinctive avoidance of new challenges, a shrinking safety zone. This is the psyche, trying to protect itself under crushing weight, sinking deeper into isolation. The fading of meaning, goals, passions, and values that once drove us blur or vanish. Daily life feels like a trek across a hardened desert, weary, aimless, directionless. This is the deepest erosion of life's driving force by compacted stress. Part 3, the keys to thawing, the science of pressure flow. Understanding the physiology of pressure hardening is key to unlocking flow. Modern neuroscience and psychology reveal the precise pathways stress takes. 1. The brain's symphony and its imbalance. When we perceive a stressor, real or imagined, the brain's alarm center, the amygdala, sounds the alert. It activates the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal HPA axis, prompting the adrenal glands to secrete stress hormones, primarily cortisol and adrenaline. Short-term stress. These hormones are vital short-term, boosting heart rate and blood pressure, shunting blood and energy to muscles and brain, shutting down non-urgent functions, digestion, immunity, preparing us to face the challenge, fight or flight. The system should reset once the stress passes. Chronic compaction. When stress is relentless, the HPA axis stays chronically activated, keeping cortisol levels elevated. Excess cortisol damages the hippocampus. This key area for learning and memory shrinks, impairing cognition. Suppresses the prefrontal cortex, PFC. This command center for rational thought, decision-making, and emotional regulation weakens, leading to impulsivity, anxiety, and poor focus. Disrupts neurotransmitters, affects balance of serotonin, dopamine, feel-good chemicals, causing low mood and lack of motivation. The body's chain reaction. Chronic high cortisol wreaks havoc system-wide. Cardiovascular, sustained high blood pressure, rapid heart rate, increased risk of heart attack and stroke. Immune, suppressed function, increased infection risk, and chronic inflammation, linked to many diseases. Metabolic, promotes abdominal fat storage, increases insulin resistance, and type 2 diabetes risk. Digestive, disrupts gut microbiome balance, exacerbating gut issues. 3. The neurobiological essence of compaction. Chronic stress alters brain structure and functional connectivity. Neural circuits for fear and vigilance, like the amygdala, become hyperactive and hypersensitive. Circuits for calm reasoning and emotional regulation, like the prefrontal cortex amygdala pathway, are weakened. The brain gets trapped in a hyper-alert yet sluggish, vicious cycle. This is the neuronal manifestation of mental hardening. Neuroplasticity steered towards rigidity and fear, not adaptation and growth. We are not seeking a pressure-free desert that signifies life's desiccation, but learning the art of swimming, even surfing, in the current. When pressure begins to pile up like sand, please bravely, gently, create spaces in your inner cup of sand. Even if just a sliver of light breaks through or a wisp of breeze passes by, life's inherent fluidity can be quietly reawakened. Let the pressure flow again. Life ceases to be a grueling trek across hardened earth. Instead, it becomes a journey carried by the vitality of its own river, embracing those natural ripples, surging towards broader, richer waters. You are no longer a prisoner of pressure, but a wise soul, who has learned to dance with this vibrant river of life, finding profound peace and power amidst its peaks and troughs. This flow itself is the deepest healing